Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Luke Wilson TV podcast. This is going to be completely uncut unless I go completely off the rails and say something terrible that needs to be cut out, which is probably not likely. I'm pretty restrained, and I'm also not a bad person, so I don't have any terrible things to say about anything. Okay, whatever. This episode, I originally wanted to start doing this podcast because I didn't want to make an entire video about the new Zelda, but keep in mind, if you're not a gamer, I'm going to be talking about Zelda at the end of the podcast. But for now, we are going to be talking about a bunch of things. I do want to talk about my trip I went to England, Ireland, and Wales. I got back on July 3rd, just in time for America's Independence Day. Hell yeah. Free from Britain, just like Ireland. And we'll get into some of that other British stuff in just a bit. But I did want to start out by talking about just the podcast as a whole. So if you don't want to hear any of this logistical stuff and you just want to get into the cool subject matter, then skip ahead. But if you're here, welcome, everybody. If you're listening in the car or you are listening at the gym, I know I listen at the gym. Sorry, I'm itching myself right now. This is not good camera behavior. Welcome, everybody. This is so cool, man. I watch a lot of podcasts all the time, and if you want to know specifically what kind of podcasts I listen to, I listen to Open Bar. I don't actually listen to the whole podcast, but I do tap into it, here and there, and I listen to the highlights and stuff. Open Bar is the Critical Drinker and his crew. They're a bunch of, very cynical, film critics. They're really funny. I just like them a lot, They're the kinds of people who they'll say some stuff that are it's really, really hot takes or really, stuff that you could definitely offend people by saying, but just because of the way that they are who they are, I just think it's funny. The same thing goes for the official podcast with Critical and Mudahar and, all those other people, Hugbees. I don't know his real name. I think it's Jordan. I could be totally wrong on that. But yeah, again, they're just a bunch of they always fight with each other, and it's just kind of funny to just kind of people watch them, but also they do have a lot of good stuff to say. And then I do watch the Adam Ragusia podcast. He's, he has a lot of good stuff to say. A lot of very informed opinions. He's, it's kind of funny because he is just a slight bit pretentious, but again, it's just I love him for that. I love that whole podcast because he's just very he's by the books, and I don't know. And then let's see, the Safety Third podcast with Alan Pan, William Osman, all the rest of them, Nile Red, Backyard Scientists. Those guys are hilarious. I just love listening to everything that they put out. All their videos I find extremely interesting. I'm not an engineer, but I love learning stuff and I love listening to them. Okay, that's enough talking about all of that for now. What do I talk about next? I don't know. It's almost like I have a list of questions procured down on my handy-dandy computer. But before we get into that, this episode is sponsored by, not an ad, this is not actually an ad, Yoshi's Safari on the Super Nintendo. Let me give you guys a close-up for those who are just listening. Uh-oh, how do I do this now? Do I twist it this way? Is that right? I think so. Yeah, here we go. Yoshi's Safari on the Super Nintendo. This was I think I would attribute this to being the first video game that I ever played, ever. Because my dad, if you want to know the story behind this game, first of all, I'll just explain what it is. It's an on-rail shooter where you play as Mario with a bazooka. Uh-oh, I hope this is in focus. There we go. You play as Mario, and he's got a bazooka, and he shoots stuff, and he's riding Yoshi, and yeah, I don't know. The first video game console that was ever in my house was a Super Nintendo. My parents worked for Sam's Club, so my dad got one on clearance and brought it home. And yeah, Yoshi's Safari. I still have the boxes for pretty much all of the games that he had purchased at the time. This is really killing me. You guys are going to learn, if you listen to this podcast, a lot about the way I think and how I'm a perfectionist when it comes to getting myself in focus and stuff. But yeah, we did get an N64, which is what I mainly grew up playing. But yeah, we had a Super Nintendo in the early days, and it was great, man. And I remember just sitting on my dad's bed, my parents' bed, holding the freaking gun and shooting it at the screen, and it was just awesome because I was like, this is so cool, The tech was so awesome. But yeah, I do want to do like a video game, a highlight every single episode. I think that'd be really cool. Also, down the line, I do want to involve other people. Another reason why I wanted to just start the podcast was because my brother Andy does a lot of, he's getting into the YouTube scene. We both did it when we were younger, but he's, really on the grind right now, and he wants to do some podcast kind of stuff. And also Bryn, featured in many of my videos. She wants to get in on it too, so that'll be a lot of fun. Let me just make sure my audio is good before we move on. Yeah, so let's just talk about the trip that I went on. So, yeah, I went to England, Ireland, and Wales. The first thing that we did in Ireland was the Ring of Kerry. And let me just say, Ireland is one of the most beautiful countries I've been to, and I'm not just saying that as like a blanket statement. It's just so lush. And, growing up near the woods, and my mom is a big plant person, just seeing all of the greenery and stuff, just really... See, I can't even focus because I feel like this lens is out of focus. You guys, I told you you're going to learn more about me. Let me just quickly use the autofocus. I know, I'm putting my faith in a machine. See, now it's never going to be the same. That's fine. Oh, focus, you piece of crap. Oh, focus, you piece of crap. There we go. Okay. So, it is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever visited. It's... just there's ferns everywhere, and every single surface that has rocks on it has moss and has vines and has tons of stuff growing out of it. I might include pictures. I kind of want to go through here and include pictures, but also I just kind of want to edit this and put it out. So let me know what you guys think. I don't think I'm going to put anything in here, actually. Let me know what you guys think about, if you want to see any B-roll, because, I don't know, with these podcasts, people just tend to listen and not watch. I mean, that's how I consume podcasts on YouTube. I keep the video minimized or whatever while I'm working out or driving or whatever. But, yeah, just awesome. We did a huge circle. Now, if you know about Ireland, now I'm going to try to do this mirrored for you guys. So, Ireland, as our bus driver Steve taught us, Ireland has 3 peninsulas down in the southwestern part. And one of those is the Ring of Kerry, which is a popular bus route where you get to see all sorts of cool stuff. And then, yeah, we just saw castles. We went to Blarney Castle, and I got to kiss the Blarney Stone. The legend, there's tons and tons of theories about the Blarney Stone, but basically, what even is it? Well, it's a rock that's inside of a castle. So what you do is you go to this little village area, and there's all sorts of touristy stuff, but there's Blarney Castle. So you go up to Blarney Castle, you climb to the top, and then I don't know how familiar you guys are with castles, but basically I'm gonna try and describe this the best I can. Some of you may have learned in school. I know me as an American learned this in school, so I'm assuming people from Europe probably learned this in school. Castles used to be like the toilet in the castle was literally just like an outcropping. So, you have your flat wall, and then the toilet is basically just an outhouse strapped to the side of the castle, and instead of all of your poop and pee and anything else going into the ground, into a giant hole, it just falls off the side of the castle and rolls off. And, yeah, people go and collect it and stuff. It's kind of gross by modern standards, but come on, guys. We got to be a little mindful of our ancestors here, okay? So the Blarney Stone was not a toilet, but it was a similar setup where basically it was just like a ledge and a complete drop-off. And now they've put stuff in place to keep people from falling, but what you have to do is lay on your back and lean your top half over the side of this castle, over this 200-foot drop, at least 200 feet, and lean all the way back, bend a good, almost at a 90-degree angle, and kiss this stone, and then you come back up. Yeah, I did that. It was very terrifying. I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm a little afraid of heights, but I can, stomach my fear if it's for something cool, Sorry, I just had to make sure I was still recording there. And, of course, get a drink. What are we drinking today? It is iced tea. Actually, it's sun tea. Big thing in the 70s and the 80s. Basically, you put a giant jar, like a gallon jar, out in the sun of water and tea bags, and you literally just let it sit there, and it makes tea. You know, you don't have to do anything other than put it outside, bring it back in. So yeah, that's what we've been doing in the summer. And yeah, I just squeeze a bunch of lemon in there. I love sour flavors, so I just put a bunch of lemon in there. Less than I actually kind of wanted. I wish I could put some more in there, but I'm recording right now, so I can't. Yeah, put some ice in there. Really good stuff. I do recommend sun tea if you live in an area that gets warm. It's been getting up into the 90s the past past couple weeks. We actually had the hottest day ever recorded, if you guys remember, July 4th, 5th, and 6th. It was 3 days in a row, the hottest day ever. Now, I'm not going to get into climate change stuff because there's so much nuance with all that stuff. People all have their own opinions, and yeah. But basically, it's been really hot, and it's been great for making tea, I'll say that. You know, if the world ends up cooking, we're going to have lots of tea, baby. So yeah, we were talking about the Blarney Stone. Another cool thing is that I visited the place with the longest name in Wales. I actually have a postcard over there. Maybe we'll also do a little postcard highlight. Should I just completely abandon the camera and go over there? I think I should, so I'm going to take the microphone with me. If you guys are watching, I'm just going to kind of go off camera. Say goodbye, Octorock. Here it is. Okay, let me make sure. Let me try and put this. Let me try and focus this real quick on you guys. So the place with the longest name in Europe or the UK or something. Yeah, good luck trying to read that. Basically, if you guys are listening, the word is really, really long. Let me just refocus the camera. There we go. I'll get a better camera with like a remote focus option and all sorts of fancy stuff, but you guys have to actually get me monetized first. Let me try and pronounce this longest name. So I know it translates to like the Church of St. Mary near the whirlpool next to the Church of St. Peter with like a red tree or something like that. It's definitely not what it is, but and I know I'm pronouncing it wrong already because I know the double L in Welsh creates a totally different sound than the L sound, but let's go. Lenfer pwyl gingil goger chewin drob wheel. There are 4 L's in a row right there. Lantisilla go goach. What is this, Speed Racer? Go. You old geezers will remember that one. You know what's actually really cool that I didn't know until recently? Speed Racer, being based on a manga, is actually an anime. So if any of your parents watched Speed Racer growing up, they're all weebs. Okay. So, yeah, we went to Wales. We went to England. I got to see London. I also got to see Dublin in Ireland. Let's bounce back to Ireland. Dublin. What a cool city, man. Lots of cool stuff. It's actually, because of the taxation there, it's becoming a huge center for industry. They call it like the Silicon River or something like that. It's basically the Silicon Canal. It's this canal that runs through. See, am I in focus? I am. Okay. It's this canal that runs through. Yeah, that's a place. It runs through Dublin, and there's like Google. There's freaking IBM. If you are interested in archaeology, IBM might be something that you're interested in. The old ass computers at my work use their IBM. Yeah, I don't know. General Electric, Google. Lots of other. I know Facebook has a setup there. I'm not calling it Meta because I don't feel like recorrecting my brain at this moment. But yeah, really cool stuff. The city, the pubs. I actually met a guy from Indiana when we were in a bar there, because I can drink in Ireland because I am 20 and the drinking age is 18. So yeah, I drank all sorts of beer there. Tried Guinness, really liked it. I liked every beer I tried there. And I will not disclose the exact reasons why I like beer on tap. But let me just say, cheap beer is nothing compared to beer on tap. Yeah, just like I tried Coors. I tried this Atlantic IPA when I met up with Joe the Gamer. If you guys are old fans of the channel, you'll remember Joe the Gamer. We did some stuff back in the day. I also posted a picture with him on Instagram, so that's your cue to go check out the Instagram, Luke Wilson TV. But yeah, tried lots of beer. Really liked it. Met an Indianese. That just sounds like I'm being racist towards Indian people. Not even. Just he was from Indiana. He was from Indiana, and he was 18 years old, and he's like, yeah, I just moved out to Dublin. It's like, that's awesome. Okay. I also tipped him $5. I don't remember if it was pounds or euros or American dollars. Probably euros, but yeah. London was kind of interesting. We did a Jack the Ripper tour with this guy. He was this Scot named Sean, and he was really funny. Yeah, he just was a great tour guide. We got to visit all the places where Jack the Ripper struck his victims. It was so cool. I mean, in all seriousness, it was really cool. But let's get into some more specific things. So, let's see. How was your experience driving on the opposite side of the road in Ireland? The opposite side of the road was weird at first, but I don't know. I got kind of used to it. What really threw me off was going in and out of roundabouts. I wasn't driving. It was the bus driver, but I sat near the front of the bus. And yeah, the fact that you go in the opposite direction in roundabouts, and you come out and it's like, oh, this isn't right. It feels a little weird, but I mean, it's kind of like a novelty that wears off. So, did I visit any castles or ruins? We did visit some castle ruins. Not in Ireland. We did visit an old, I think it was the Rock of Cashel or Cashel Rock. In England, which was crazy, or maybe it was in Ireland. No, I'm pretty sure it was in Ireland. We didn't do a whole lot in England. But it was like an old church. It was actually it was a monastery, I believe. So it was like a churchy castle. It looked like the Temple of Time from Zelda. It was so cool. And there was a graveyard with all these Gaelic crosses. It's the cross with the circle around the intersection. Really, really cool. The graveyards were all very Scooby-Doo-esque, very Zelda-esque. And around Cashel Rock was this, like a wall. And if you looked out over the wall, you could just see open rolling fields. And there were just castle ruins in those fields too. And it was like, can we go down there? Probably not. It's probably private property. But, it'd be fun to think about going down there. Get some cool pictures. I don't know. But yeah, the Irish countryside was absolutely beautiful. Oh, we did see a sheep herding demonstration, and let me go into a little tangent here about sheepdogs. My family owns an Old English sheepdog. We've had 3 over the course of living in this house. One before I was born, one basically the entire time I was growing up, from when I was 9 years old to when I was no. From the time I was 7 till I was 19, or maybe 6 to 18, I don't even know. But the dog was 12 years old, and we had him my entire life, and he just died in August of 2021. But yeah, he was a sheepdog, and then we have a sheepdog now. And let me just say, it's really, really interesting the way that sheepdogs have been bred versus the way that they're used in today's, context. So we did see a sheep herding demonstration, but it was not a border collie or an Old English sheepdog or a German shepherd or whatever. It was this collie, kind of very foxy hyena looking dog. Very excited, mouth opened up, just ready to go. And basically, if you guys have seen Guardians of the Galaxy, I think Ronan is his name. I don't know, somebody, I think it's Ronan, the guy who's played by Merle from The Walking Dead. The blue guy, he has that fin and he whistles and controls the arrow. That was literally how the guy was directing this dog. The shepherd, well, not really, I don't know if he was a shepherd, whatever. He was the dog owner, and he would whistle, and he would just let out a string of whistles, like let's see if I can try. It was like or something like that. That was really bad. He had an actual whistle though, but he was whistling a bunch of different stuff, and it was like a secret. It was like Morse code, but instead of being short and long, it was like it was like there was like rhythm to it too. And basically he would whistle and this dog would just know where to go. And if he didn't whistle or anything, the dog would turn around and be like, please give me directions. But yeah, I don't know. It was just really it was really cool to see that happen. The dog was able to round up the sheep, take them around the mountain, take them up to see us, take them back. He's like, oh, we're gonna take the sheep up on the mountain again so you guys can get a cool video. That, let me just say, people take so many pictures and videos and are never gonna use them. And I took a lot with my camera, and I'm gonna use them for a project. So I guess I can't assume that these people aren't gonna use the pictures for anything. But some of the people that I saw touring in England and Ireland and Wales, they just had their phone out the whole time. And it's like, dude, like, you're going to delete a lot of these. I don't know. Like, whatever. I can't judge. I got to work on not judging, not being critical. I know I'm very critical and cynical, but I can't judge other people because I don't want that to be how people are to me, right? Okay. So basically what I'm trying to say is sheepdogs, Old English sheepdogs were bred over generations. They have extreme herding tendencies. Like both sheepdogs that I've lived with, if you're out in the yard or in the kitchen or anything, they start to get anxious and will like circle you and try to tap everybody and like interact with everybody and round everybody up, and they will circle you. It's crazy. Like if we're standing around the table in the kitchen, like Buddy, my dog, I know, very basic name, I don't care. Luke Wilson is also a very basic name. But yeah, he will circle us and it's crazy. We're out in the yard and like he'll run and circle. It's crazy how these are just like built in. But it's like nowadays, those herding techniques are not the most efficient way of herding sheep anymore or herding animals. It's bred. It's no longer needs to be bred. You just need a smart dog. Like, you don't need a herding dog. You just need a very intelligent dog who will listen to your directions and be easily trainable, They're able to train these dogs in a matter of years to do what they do. And a lot of them are collie mixes. You need the mix of brains and athletics. Sheepdogs, like Old English sheepdogs, they're not built for athletics, I mean, they're very stocky and muscular, and they can, they might have a lot of endurance, but they're not the quickest, most aerodynamic in the world. I mean, they're covered with fur. They blend right in with the sheep. So, when it comes to which dog you would want to herd your sheep, would you rather a border collie mix that's like, extremely intelligent, listens to you like crazy, is going to just follow your whistle and just do whatever you want, or an Old English sheepdog who is just going to kind of herd, like round up your animals? It's like that may have worked better in the old days, but nowadays it's just not super viable. So I'm interested to see how the Old English sheepdog breed is going to be affected, and other shepherd breeds. I wonder how they're going to be affected down the line. And I did want to talk too about how we saw a shearing demonstration from an actual shepherd. I don't know if his name was Shepherd, but he was a shepherd and he was cool. Basically, what they do is, he had extreme control over these sheep. You're supposed to constantly keep pressure on them. So he literally just grabbed it by like the horn in the leg and just like, wrestled it and just plopped it down between his legs. And he's just like, okay, here's a demonstration with traditional shears. And he had like these big honking scissors that he was just like, shearing off the sheep wool and stuff. In one big sheet, mind you. Takes a lot of talent to do that. I don't know if they have competitions, but if they did, this guy would be like an all-star, man. He was awesome. And then he showed us how they do it with the electric trimmers. And I know it's really easy to like cut the sheep, by accident, but this dude was super good. He was just, very talented, experienced. And then what they did was they branded them, not with a heated up thing, but with like a paint thing. So they just had a letter and they stamped it onto the sheep, and then they smacked their butt. Not smacked it, but like, slapped some paint on their butt. And depending on where the sheep is marked or what letters on it or what paint color is used, they're able to determine, what sheep belongs to what farm, because they only really rein them in every, like, I think they said like 6 times a year. So once every couple months. So yeah, it's just like, oh, I have all of my red sheep, and there's one yellow-eared sheep and one blue-legged sheep, and it's like, these belong to this farm and this farm, you know. But for the most part, they're like free range, which is awesome. The dairy products in Ireland were fantastic. The ice cream was amazing. The cheese, you know, Kerrygold butter for all y'all Americans. Kerrygold. Kerry is a place in Ireland, and Kerry sheep and cows, or I think it's Kerry cows. I don't know. Kerry dairy. I don't know. Whatever. But the dairy products that come out of Ireland are amazing, and a lot of Ireland's food is locally sourced. So, sorry, my jaw's getting a little sore. All I do is talk all day. I work at a grocery store, saving my pennies for someday. Okay, so what else? Irish dishes and beverages. I guess I'll just talk about traditional dishes that I had. Well, the food on the trip that we ate, if we got dessert, like, I think probably like 80% of our desserts were brownies and ice cream. And depending on where it was from, it was amazing. Some places had box brownies and grocery store ice cream. Some places had, like in Ireland, homemade ice cream that had like 14 or more percent fat in it. Just decadent ice cream. It was like butter. And, you know, brownies, the brownies were always good. You know, you can't really mess up a brownie because box brownies have been, you know, scientifically engineered to be perfect. And honestly, I like brownies more than I like cake. I really am not a big cake guy. Unless it's Costco chocolate cake. That's like one of my exceptions. Or a really, really good sheet cake. You know, you get one from like a bakery, grocery store bakery, and it's just super dense and amazing. That's fine. But a lot of times cake is just dry and the icing is just sugar, man. It's like, what's the point, you know? Like, I'm basically choking it down with ice cream. It's like, I don't know, man. But Costco chocolate cake, never. So good. For my birthday, I generally get tuxedo cake from Costco. You know, Costco is just magic. I love that place. Or ice cream. What's that brand called? I'm going to look it up because I don't want to just talk about it without referencing it. Let's see what we got here. It is what ice cream cake. Ice cream cake. It's not Entman's, but it does start with an E, I think. Ice cream cake. Let's just go Walmart. See what it's called. Oh, Carvel. That's what it is. The Carvel ice cream cake. If you know, you know, man. They're nothing short of a miracle. And those get the pass for me on the cake-o-meter because they're not even cake. It's just ice cream. Let's see. Oh, we also... Sorry, I'm reading my list of questions here to get ideas of what to talk about. Listen, it's not easy talking for this straight in a row, you know. But we did hear a story about... Now, I do not know. I know Finn McCool... and that was all I remember from the names out of the story. But basically, there once was a king who, this is a children's story / legend. Tirnaog, I think. Sorry, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just bear with me. So there once was a king from Ireland, I think. And he said, well, he went to a druid, and the druid said, "Hey, king, you're going to be dethroned." Now, the king was the fastest man in all the land. Every year they had a race, and the king would always win the race because he was so fast, and because of that, he was always king. And he had a daughter who was very beautiful. She had bright green eyes and beautiful orange hair, red hair. I don't know. It's the same thing. Movie recording has been stopped automatically. That's not cool. Let's get back to it. Okay. Sorry about that brief interruption. My camera stops recording whenever it feels like. So the king had a daughter who had beautiful green eyes and beautiful orange flowing hair. And the druid told the king that his daughter would marry a man who would be the son of Finn McCool, and he would be the fastest in all of the land once she brought him back, because he would be faster than the king, and he would enter the race, and he'd beat the king. So the king was like, "I'm not having that. So I know what to do." So the druid was like, "Are you going to make yourself the fastest forever? Are you going to make Finn McCool's sons all die? Are you going to make your daughter unable to get married. And the king said, no, I'm going to make my daughter ugly. So the daughter got the face of a pig, so she would never marry because she was so horrendously ugly. No matter how funny or smart she was, nobody would ever love her. And the king felt so bad about this, but he needed to keep the kingdom safe. He needed to keep his daughter safe. So the daughter became ugly and disfigured, and she was so sad. And she ended up running away when she got older. And she did, in fact, stumble upon a son of Finn McCool. And lo and behold, he found her beautiful beyond her ugly pig face. And they decided to come back to the land. But then the daughter was like, actually, this is a bad idea. Let's just run away together because I could never bring you into the kingdom. I don't really remember why, but basically they ended up running away. I think the king might have actually chased away the son of Finn McCool, but basically the daughter and the son of Finn McCool ran off, and they ran, and Finn McCool's horse was so majestic it ended up running across the water. It was so beautiful and awesome. It was like a Jesus horse. It was like a Jesus lizard, but it was a horse. It was running so fast. It's like the Flash. So they ended up in the land of Tirnog, Irish people. Please do not give me crap for this. I am just a humble Pennsylvanian. Yeah. So they ended up in the land of Tirnog, which is a beautiful, beautiful land of eternal youth and majestic stuff and fairies and all sorts of amazing, amazing things. And they ended up staying there for a very, very long time. Very long time, in fact. So long that they actually lost track of time. They were just so in love, and they were married, and they were just having a great time. And one day, well, they were told that if they ever set foot back in the land of Ireland, that they would be reduced to old, feeble people and die. So they had to stay in the land of Tir na Nog forever. Well, the son of Finn McCool decided that he just didn't care. He was too homesick. So he rode his horse back home. And since he was on the horse, he actually, never ended up stepping off the horse. He was walking around and he found all these people and he's like, where's my family? Where's my parents? Where's my brothers and sisters? And everybody said, who? And he's like, I'm Finn McCool. And they were like, he said, I'm the son of Finn McCool. And they're like, we don't know who that is. Eventually, he stumbled upon the oldest man in his village who had heard legends of the stories of Finn McCool, and basically informed him that everybody was dead and they thought it was all myth. So he rode around a little bit more, very disappointed, and he found some men trying to move a giant rock. And he was like, yo, I'm just a giant, man. I'm so huge and awesome. So he ended up flicking this rock. These men were trying to lift it, but he was so huge he could flick it. And in his pride, he ended up falling off his horse, touching the ground, and dying. And the daughter of the king remained in Tir na Nog forever. And I think there's some more to that story, but basically the lesson is I don't remember the other parts of that story. Look it up. Because it's actually really interesting. And there's a bunch of different versions of it and stuff. But yeah, that's what we learned. Sorry, it was a little bit of story time there. Majestic land and things. It actually reminded me a lot, Ireland reminded me a lot of Scandinavia. I'd gone to Finland and Iceland, which I'll talk about in another video or in another podcast, probably with Bryn. But yeah, it just reminded me more of Scandinavia than it did of England. And I honestly think I liked Ireland more than England, just the landscape. But I did not see much of England apart from London and the road between Wales and London. So, yeah. So let's talk a little bit more, and then we're going to get into the Zelda review. So we did see the bog bodies in Ireland, which was crazy. The bogs are a big thing, the Rattling Bog, the bog down in the valley. Oh, yeah, there's lots of bogs in Ireland. And a bog is like a swamp, but there's so much peat there, peat moss, that the soil which is normally comprised of a lot of decomposed matter and minerals, the soil is just mostly decomposed peat. So it's high in nitrogen, and it is low in oxygen, and it is very, very good at preserving bodies. So back in the day when people got in fights and they got murders and they got sacrifices and they ended up getting thrown into the bog and dying, their bodies were preserved. And there was actually... there were 4 different bog bodies we saw, each in a different state of, intactment. It's kind of like JoJo's, where like you get all the mummy parts together, But one of them had a hand. It was a mummified hand, and it literally just looked like an old person hand. Like it looked like a person with darker skin. Like it just looked like their arm because it was so well preserved. It literally just looked like a living person's hand. It was crazy. Yeah, there was like red hair, there was like clothing. It was pretty cool. And those were old, man. Those were like 1200 AD or earlier. Yeah, pretty crazy. And we also did learn a lot about the history of Ireland and England, and I did just want to say, I'm surprised that London was started by the Romans. It's very crazy that the city of London was built by the Romans. Like, come on, we had the Roman Empire, the British Empire, all sorts of these empires in between, but it's crazy that Europe, that London has been through so many of these different parts of history. And we did go to Windsor Castle, and this is my hot take of the day, guys. Windsor Castle was like the one castle that I wasn't super, super impressed with. And I know I'm going to be offending lots of people by saying this, but, I listen to people's hot takes and opinions on their own podcasts, so I think I'm okay. I'm a reasonable person. I'm not just gonna start throwing stuff out. But it did kind of feel like the Royal Collection was a little bit braggadocious. You got your castles. The castles, I appreciate the architecture. I appreciate the work that went into them. Maybe there were indentured servants and slaves and stuff that built them, but I'm impressed with their work. I mean, even if they were slaves, that's still an amazing thing to be able to say that you were, that you built. These castles of old are still around, and, slavery is terrible, whether it's in the ancient history or modern history, whatever, but, those castles, very, very impressive feats of human engineering. Uh-oh, my computer just went off. See, it's still recording. What are you talking about, computer? And yeah, I mean, Windsor Castle was very impressive, but the Royal Collection just seemed so excessive. Like, I don't know. It makes sense why a lot of the royal family decided not to live in that castle. There is just so much gold and so much everything. You think that Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or whoever are the richest people in the world. Well, they're just not. They really aren't. Businesses have a certain cap, Businesses, some countries don't care about certain businesses, Like, do you think a lot of nations in Africa care about Teslas? Or do you think a lot of, nations, do you think, like, people in India care about Teslas when they're not in, like, a rich area? Do you think people in China care about Teslas? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. It's just, there's a certain cap to a lot of that stuff, but the stuff in the Royal Collection is priceless artifacts, and there are just thousands of them, and each of them are worth millions of dollars on their own. And the one thing that kind of pissed me off, because I do, even though I make fun of America a lot for starting a lot of conflicts and wars and recklessly spending our taxpayer money, I do still call America my home. And seeing that in the Royal Collection there was a mini Liberty Bell made out of a piece of the actual Liberty Bell kind of just felt like a little bit of a stab, because it was like, it's kind of like, you can't let us have this one thing, like, you have to have a part of it too. Like, you have to have your own little piece of the American independence from you. I don't know. I'm just joking, but at the same time, I'm not. I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, this slice of my brain is like a little bit offended, but this big chunk of my brain is like, meh, and this big chunk of my brain is like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And it's like, I don't know. But yeah, that was the one thing that kind of made me realize, like, dang, the Royal Collection is less of a museum and more of just like a flex, I don't know. It is cool that a lot of that stuff is preserved, though, and there is tons of money protecting that stuff. And in hundreds of years, we're going to see all that stuff. And I really hope that it's not just tied to like the royal family, and it's more tied to just history and humanity as a whole. Because like now that we're all connected with the internet, I think a lot of people are losing interest in a lot of these old traditions, which it's a good and a bad thing, So yeah, that's about all I have to say. That's all I have to say about that. If you guys like Forrest Gump, then you probably liked that quote. Okay, so let's get right into the Zelda review. So I'm going to make this a little bit brief because I do have to get somewhere pretty soon. But let's see. All right, I got this stuff up. So just some general opinions. I did not 100% the game. I didn't finish all the shrines. I kind of just stopped playing it because I played it for like over 200 hours, definitely. But I'm waiting for DLC so I can go back and actually have stuff to do. The way that I kind of played the game was, I'd save the main quests for when I was getting bored with the side quests, and then I progress and then, do all sorts of stuff. This, by the way, is going to be a spoiler-filled review, so don't listen if you don't want to be spoiled. But do listen if you don't care. I don't know. The game was just, it was amazing. It was definitely the best Zelda game I've ever played. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite. Really, Majora's Mask and Wind Waker constantly go back and forth as being my favorites, just because, I don't know, like both of them are just so well made. To me, Wind Waker screams Zelda, and to me, Majora's Mask just screams, creepy Japanese horror. And if you haven't played either of those games and you're interested in something fun to do for, 20 to 30 hours, go and do that. It's so fun. Wind Waker HD, have not played it, but I know it improves on the game amazingly. And Majora's Mask, don't play Majora's Mask 3D. Just if you have purchased a copy of Majora's Mask already, then you can find a digital copy to use because you already own the game, if you catch my drift. No Mario Kart. Yo. So yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, man, what a game. It totally lived up to the hype. Just the entire underground, like when I would get bored, I would just go explore the depths, and then when I get bored with the depths, I just go screw around with Zonai devices, and I start building stuff, and just the amount of stuff you can build in that game, the amount of engineering you can do is just unprecedented. It is amazing. You see what people do in Minecraft with computers. Basically, the only thing holding back Tears of the Kingdom from being like that is the fact that the Nintendo Switch is basically like 40 potatoes strung together in a vat of vinegar connected by pennies and nails. Seriously, the Switch is just... nothing made me dislike the Switch as much as this game because of just how underpowered the Switch is. Nintendo has been holding off. They rushed out the Switch Pro, or whatever. The Switch OLED didn't have much, of an improvement over the Switch other than, marginal increases in battery life and computing power. Just really ashamed to see the Switch just take this hit like this. It really showed the world that the Switch, while it may not lose the console wars, it's definitely losing the powerhouse console rewards, contests, whatever. But other than that, the game was really, really awesome. Another thing about the game that really bothered me with the limitations was that, whenever Link would hand something to somebody, he just goes, and it's just nothing. And this bothered me in Breath of the Wild. When Link would eat something, he wouldn't actually eat it. He would just go, nom, 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 Or if it was like a skewer, he'd go, nom, 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 nom. And it's like he's holding nothing. You're chomping down on air. That's actually bad for your teeth to be gritting them together and chomping on nothing, Also, the fact that whenever anybody does anything, it fades to black. And it's like, put this here and done. Yeah, like... Give me a break, Nintendo. Come on. You could have animated a tiny, tiny little cutscene. If you can animate Link chomping down on nothing, you can animate characters, hammering nothing or doing whatever. I really, really hope the next Zelda game has better animations like that, because that was where it really, really struggled. The side quests, a lot of them felt like fetch quests where it's like, gee, I really wish I had 5 blue fish. Oh, you have 5 blue fish? But then the other half of the time, it's like, it's like, I really, really don't feel like going all the way to this specific place on the map to get you 5 blue fish. Like, come on. It does give you something to do, but when it's a side mission that doesn't give you anything, it kind of sucks. And an improvement that they brought that's my cue to get some water. An improvement, it's not water, it's leaf water. An improvement to this game is the side adventures. Like, side adventures were such an awesome thing because it's like a side quest, but it's like an upgraded side quest, and you get really good stuff out of it. You get you get armor pieces, you get rupees. I don't know. I didn't do a lot of the duping. The only thing I duplicated in Tears of the Kingdom were the Hylian shield because, like, it's already going to take forever to get rid of a Hylian shield. I just wanted to have a whole inventory full of them because screw you, whatever. But I do want to talk about a little bit of why I think this game is the best Zelda and how it compares to the other games. I think the sky exploration is just right out of Skyward Sword. It literally just felt like Skyward Sword, but like a little more free because it is free. You build your own things. The wings running out of energy is kind of crappy. Like, the fact that you're allowed to attach so many fans to things and you're allowed to attach electricity to stuff and make, propellers that are powered by electricity instead of by Zonai device charge, that didn't make a lot of sense. Like, when the wings don't last forever, it's like, make the wings last forever or make the other things do the other thing. You know what I'm saying? That really sucked. But other than that, the sky exploration was so fun. Being able to go off to like an island way out of the way, finding a King Gleeok and just beating him up, being able to conquer these giant beasts. The overworld bosses are so much better this time. Or just the world bosses in general. The Gleeoks are amazing. Such an awesome callback to old Zelda. They're fun to fight. I don't think I've ever avoided a Gleeok fight for any other reason than I was not powerful enough or I didn't have the time. It was just, I loved fighting them. It does kind of suck that you need Keese eyeballs basically to kill them. Or bomb arrows, but I mean, by the end of the game, you're stacked on that stuff. Maybe not the eyeballs, but the bomb arrows for sure. And let's see, the Taluses are always fun. The Lionels are always fun. The Colosseums are fun. It's just awesome. Beating up on the enemies, just getting stronger. The game really had an awesome sense of progression. Now, I do want to say another complaint is that the difficulty curve is really crazy. It's like a logarithmic curve because it's just impossible. You're just getting killed, you're getting killed, you're getting killed, you're getting killed, and then zoop, you're just destroying everything. Maybe not logarithmic, but exponential, at the very least. It's just, you literally go from just dying to everything to killing everything, and it kind of sucks. But there are some things to sort of even out that curve because there are the Gleeoks and the other overworld bosses. The boss fights in this game were fun too. Even though they were like upgraded versions of the enemies, they were still fun. And you could totally speedrun and kill the freaking Muktarok or the flying twin mold guy like super quickly and easily. But it still, if you just don't care and you're not like a speedrunner, then it's like, it's fun. It's like fun to, set up a giant freaking fire hydrant propeller to just completely wipe the whole stadium of the muck, and then just chase down the Muktarok and get a few hits in on him. I really didn't feel rushed in this game. I didn't want to rush myself. I just wanted to take it slow and easy. And like I said, I put 200 hours in, and I only explored like, maybe 60% of the depths. I still have a lot of the sky to fully flesh out. I visited all the sky islands, but I didn't do everything that I could. And I didn't do all the shrines yet, I still have about a quarter of my hearts to go. So I'm really, really hoping for DLC. I would love to see Open Ocean DLC because, Skyward Sword and Wind Waker kind of have that little bond where you're, in the open world exploring and going to islands, whether it's, in the ocean or in the sky. And the fact that there were like the 4 bosses and there was all that, the dark, it's going to be darker than Majora's Mask. It's going to be so scary. it was kind of freaky. Zelda turning into a dragon kind of sucked. I was like, she's dead. I did not expect the end of the game. I didn't expect you to be able to save Zelda at the end of the game. That was awesome. The final fight with Ganondorf was amazing. The fight, again, even though it's a little bit easy, if you know what you're doing, it was still fun to, play tennis with him and, avoid and do the flurry rush on him and dodge him, and then he does the freaking slow motion dodge on you, and then you go back and forth, doing that. It was just awesome, the fight with him, and then, when he turns into the dragon, that was awesome, and then Zelda's like, even though the dragons look kind of goofy, Zelda dragons have always looked goofy. I mean, just look at Zelda 2. That little dragon. I always think about the PBG video where the Zelda dragon's like, hello, I'm a dragon, and then he goes down and he comes up over here and he's like, hello. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the dragons making a return. Zelda, the fact that you save her and then literally like the final phase of the boss fight is Link catching her, and that was just cool. The end of the game was just so good. Also the clothing and the masks and stuff. The fact that you can upgrade the masks, like, I call them masks, but basically the headgear for the armor sets, really, really reminiscent of Majora's Mask. The fact that, like, oh, I'm in the desert, just put on the tiara, or, oh, I'm in the fiery area, put on the Goron mask, or, put on the Bokoblin mask, or the whatever. I really feel like armor was more important in this game, and it made it feel more like an RPG. It was like a bigger expansion on the Ocarina of Time, method of switching out your tunics for the different scenarios. And also the fact that, like, I remember in Ocarina of Time, I would never wear vanilla Link clothes. I would never wear the green tunic, the Hylian shield, the Master Sword. I would always have Master Sword, Mirror Shield, the freaking hover boots, and the red tunic. And I was like, oh, Link looks so cool. And, I kind of did that in this game, too, where I never, sometimes I ran with vanilla Link outfit. Everybody has the Twilight armor because Link looks the best, where he looks like the Twilight Princess version of Link. But I don't know. I ran with like different outfits and stuff, just, for vanity's sake, just looking cool, dying stuff. It was really just a bigger expansion on Breath of the Wild. And I think the biggest issue with this game as a whole for the series is that it basically just makes Breath of the Wild irrelevant. It's going to take a long time for me to go back to Breath of the Wild. I played it before I played Tears of the Kingdom, and even before I had played Tears of the Kingdom, I was like, dude, this would be so much easier if I could just ascend up, or if I could just, build something here. It was just, it really kind of sucked to see that happen, but, it's for the greater good, man. Tears of the Kingdom ran and flew, so, because Breath of the Wild crawled. First you learn to crawl, then you learn to walk. All right. Let's see what else we got. So, oh yeah, minor complaint. I'm looking at my notes here, guys. The fact that you can't dye the amiibo clothing kind of sucks, but it does add more value to the Breath of the Wild Link armor, because it's like the only Link outfit, traditional Link, with the tunic, the little hat and the green clothes and stuff. Oh, sorry, I just burped there. It's the only traditional Link outfit that you can actually dye, so it does add a little bit of value to it. And let's see. Here. I did want to say this did have a lot of callbacks to Zelda 2, like I said, especially with the dragons. The fact that Zelda is asleep. So, like, this implies that Breath of the Wild Zelda has always been, she's alive, fighting Ganon, but Tears of the Kingdom Zelda is still floating around in the sky somewhere as a dragon, I do want to give a special shout out to Kilton and Colton, the two monster brothers. They're very awesome characters. The fact that Kilton is like, the Bokoblin go like zip zoo. That was just really funny. I enjoyed those characters. Reminded me a lot of Tingle, honestly, especially with the balloons and stuff. And also, one massive kudos to this game is the treasure. The fact that you can find treasure maps and find treasure. It's like, I'm so glad they brought that back. Very reminiscent of Skyward Sword and Wind Waker. Love to see it. And yeah, I don't know. I did one final little thing I wanted to say. The hook shot kind of makes a return in the form of the ascend ability, which I did like, but I would like to see the hook shot come back. Best Zelda item of all time. If you were to own 3 Zelda items, what would it be? Hook shot or the double claw shot? Man, come on. You could just point it there and you zip, zoo, go over there. And the, the dowsing from Skyward Sword kind of makes a return as like the Sheikah sensor, and that was in Breath of the Wild, but I did enjoy seeing that return in this game. And with that being said, that's really all I have to talk about for this episode of the Luke Wilson TV podcast. I will be checking the retention on this to see how many of you guys listened the whole way through. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions, if you want to see any B-roll in the future. I'm not going to be putting any in this one, but if you would like to see, pictures, supplementing this, if you are watching it, I know personally I don't watch YouTube podcasts. I just have them play in the background, but if you guys would like to see that, let me know. If there's anything else that you guys want to see in the future, any topics, any people, anything, whether it's a video, Instagram thing, social media, or, live streaming podcasts, don't be afraid to comment. Seriously, if I want you guys to take one thing away from this episode, it's that I'm very open-minded, as long as it's not blatant hate, I'm probably going to read it and take it into consideration. But if you do decide to leave hateful comments and stuff, I'll just laugh at them because it's like, bro, I'm just making stuff, okay? All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I'm begging you. Please. Okay. Really, that's all I got to say. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. My camera's about to die. That's all I got. So, see you guys in the next video. Peace-a-roni and cheese-a-roni. Yeah, that's a new one for you.